Welcome. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
Hoje eu vou estar aqui com vocês falando um pouco sobre a velocidade da
I'll tell you
inovação
about the speed of the innovation we've seen in the market
ativos tokenizados
and tokenized assets, and also offer you a few examples.
tem fazendo. Mas antes disso, eu gostaria de me apresentar.
I would like to introduce myself.
O CEO
First,
da Núclea.
I am the CEO at Nuclea.
Em janeiro de 2023 como CEO da Núclea.
I have been in that position since January of the last year. Before that, I was working at Banco Itaú in the innovation department. I have more than 25 years of experience in the financial market, and currently I am also the president of the IPIM Council,
Onde todas as empresas se reúnem lá
where all companies get together and we talk about interoperability and registers in order to develop assets and registers in a general way for the financial market.
Primeiro que antes de falar sobre as iniciativas que a gente tem.
First of all, before delving into the initiatives that we have been working with at Nuclea, I would like to say that there is a big change happening in the tokenization market regarding the blockchain technology. Many customers with whom I have relations started studying that topic a few years ago. And a few initiatives from 3 to 4 years ago actually just did not move forwards because technology was maybe way too expensive for them to become a solution, or maybe the response time in the blockchain regulation system was not actually serving the needs of that speed with high volumes. We overcame those hurdles, and from 2021 until this year, the cost of blockchain networks in transactions actually dropped 90%. That is a significant change. Many organizations or concept ideas from 3 years ago were not fruitful because of costs, and now they are feasible. And many people are not following that evolution, and they continue to think that blockchain is not the best solution for me. Maybe it's actually the best solution for 2025, but many things start making sense now, even for Nuclea. We had a few cases that we're studying back then that made no sense, but now they do. So the first idea here is that technology is at a different level when solving problems in the financial market generally, with low costs, with a trend, a continuing trend, with an increase in the speed of transactions and scalability. This is something we have been following in tests that we have been doing with the central bank, and we notice that the most recent solutions we have been discussing are at a different scale level than from 3 or 4 years ago. And the price drop becomes material with the tokenization of assets in the world in general. When we look at last year, and we had less than 3 trillion of tokenized assets in the world, we are nearly doubling that amount this year, so it's high speed. We are taking advantage of the fact that assets are reaching $15 trillion in the market with tokenization solutions. And we see
tanto ativos como ativos financeiros como ativos do mundo real,
that real world assets and banking assets are entering the market, and with real world assets I'm referring to vehicles, real estate in general, bonds, and cryptocurrency. So speed is actually outstanding. And when we talk about new technologies, there is the adoption time. And blockchain was growing. and working with cancer proof,
porque essas questões de custo e de velocidade de
and the speed and the transaction were causing troubles. But now it's coming to this exponential curve in which it starts solving problems in the market overall.
Isso está acontecendo no Brasil. Isso aqui, esses dados são
That's
do
been
mundo,
happening in Brazil. We have data
quando
from the
você
world.
olha aqui para o Brasil,
But when you look at
um
our
dos
country,
indicadores que a gente tem
one of the
acompanhado
indicators we have been following
os ativos tokenizados
is the
que a
tokenized
regulamentação da
assets
CVM
that the
88
CDN88 for crowdfunding
autorizou no mercado
made
financeiro.
viable for
Vê
the
que
financial
a gente tinha
market.
aí 300 milhões em
We had
2023,
300 million in
tokenizados,
2023 for
usando
tokenized
o
assets
regulatório
using
CVM
the
88.
regulatory
E agora vai
framework
aqui para 2
from
bi,
the
1,5
SEC back
em
then.
2024,
That's
em 2025
2.5 in
para
2024, and that's
4,2 bi. Então a velocidade
4.2 billion
tokenização
this
de
year.
ativos,
So the
só
speed
que
of
nessa
asset
regulamentação,
tokenization using that regulation as a base,
a gente já vê que, de fato, esse movimento de escala está acontecendo no Brasil também.
is
Não é
actually
só
something we can
no
see
mundo.
in an scalable
Isso aqui é um
pattern,
movimento bastante
not only in
importante.
Brazil but in the
Quem
world.
está investindo nesse
That's an
mercado,
important
se você
movement,
perdeu o
and if
timing,
you
de repente
invest in
você vai
this
estar fora do
market and maybe
mercado,
you
porque
were
os novos entrantes
not in the
acabam
right
ganhando uma
timing,
participação
new
de mercado
companies
muito
actually
grande
gain a
nesse
market
momento que a gente
share
está
which is quite considerable
vivenciando.
at the moment we are going
Nesse
through right now.
contexto, a Núclea tem
Using
investido
this context as a
em
base,
já
Nuclear
focar em
has
produção,
invested
sair um pouco dessas
in
soluções que são provas de conceito,
moving out of
colocar
those
no ar
solutions
produção e soluções de
and
ativos
actually
tokenizados,
offer
que a gente
tokenized
acredita
asset
que deve haver
solutions
uma
that we
migração
believe are going
para
to
esse mercado
create
naturalmente
a
nos próximos 5
migration which
anos
is
com
going to be natural for that market in the
soluções que
next
façam
5 years
usando
for
o uso do
solutions
blockchain.
that actually use blockchain.
Quando a gente vê que no passado, o blockchain,
In the
se a
past,
gente tivesse as soluções de blockchain,
if we had
da crise de
blockchain
2008,
solutions,
provavelmente muitos
such
riscos
as
que
in
existiam
2018,
naquela época teriam sido mitigados só
it
pela
would have been mitigated, the
rastreabilidade das
problems would have been
transações,
mitigated with
transparência e
traceability,
controle
and the
operacional que a
level
tecnologia
of
permite,
operational
né?
control that
Então, quando a
technology
gente olha no
allowed.
passado, a gente já vê
But when we look
coisas que
back,
poderiam ter sido evitadas com essa tecnologia
we
se ela
see
tivesse
things that could
disponível
have been
naquela época.
avoided with that
Mas olhando
technology if
para
that
o
were
mercado
available
urgente,
back then. But when
sim,
we
a gente
look
poderia ter
at
resolvido
what's happening
muitos
now,
problemas
yes, we could have
foram
solved the
problemas que a
problems
gente identificou
that we
em
identified
2008, né?
in
Do mercado
2018
imobiliário, das
in
securitizadoras lá nos
real
Estados Unidos.
estate and
A gente vê
securitization in the USA.
questões
And
e
we
problemas
see lots of
atuais
topics in
podendo serem
current
resolvidos e
problems that
gerando
could be
novos
solved by
negócios.
generating new businesses.
E aqui eu trouxe aqui 4 casos
And I have
para
here
apresentar
4
para vocês
cases for you
de casos concretos que já estão em produção e que a gente
that
está
are in
trabalhando
production
nisso e a gente
phase,
acredita que deve ocupar o espaço
and we
nos
believe that
próximos
that's
anos
going to
nesse tipo de
be in the
solução.
market in next years.
O primeiro exemplo que eu estou
The
trazendo
first
aqui é um
example
case que a gente
is
tem, que a gente começou a tokenizar ativos,
a case
fez uma
in which we
parceria com a
started
Finance
tokenizing assets, and we
primeiro
created a
caso que eu
partnership
estou
with
trazendo para
Finance,
vocês, onde a gente já tokenizou 300
and we
milhões de reais
tokenized 300 million
de
reais
duplicatos,
in
né?
bills of
E
exchange
essa
or
solução em
invoices,
particular,
and that
como eu
particular
falei para
solution
vocês, assim, a redução de custo da
allows
rede
us to
com
reduce
o tempo de
costs in the
resposta
network with a
dessa
quick response
transação
time,
permite com que você consiga fazer
and that
securitização
allows you to
nesse
create
mercado usando
securitization
essa
in
tecnologia
this market
5 vezes
using
mais
that
rápido
technology
do
5
que
times faster
você não usando a tecnologia,
than
né?
without
E a
the
gente
technology
observou
itself.
nesses cases de uso que a gente
And we
está
noticed in these
há uma
use
redução de
cases that
40%
there
nos
is
custos
a
operacionais
40% reduction in operational
com
costs
uma tokenização, usando a plataforma de tokenização de
when
duplicados.
using the
E ganha com isso.
invoice
Nesse exemplo aqui,
securitization
dando
platform.
acesso a investidores
And with this,
a
you
ativos com
offer
uma
access to
rentabilidade maior,
investors
porque
to
quando o custo
assets
operacional
with higher
dessas transações
profitability
reduz
because the
bastante, a
operational
gente tem
costs
velocidade de ganho,
actually
você consegue
reduces a
entregar
lot and you have
as
more speed and you
transações,
can generate
inclusive para pessoas físicas,
transactions for
no exemplo que a
natural
gente tem
persons.
quieto, o ativo, o valor mínimo de
The
investimento
minimum
no token
investment
deixa de R$ 100 para
amount is for a token is 100 reais,
popular,
which is actually quite popular, with a return level of 130%, which is the historical average. That's just an example
que a gente tem aqui.
we have here.
Você vê que uma solução dessa
But you see that such a solution creates competitive differentials regarding traditional solutions for investors. Using a very safe tool with control and traceability, you can have invoice lots where you have the foreseeability statistically with default, and you have adequate risk levels for investors in a very safe way. In that example, we have the solutions that are being born in the market using the regulation structure of 88 from the SEC. But that's not just limited. That technological solution could be used for any type of financial asset outside of the regulation number 88, because technology solves problems. Here it solves problems with low ticket operations, because the cost for that type of ticket ends up not making feasible these low cost operations. That's why we have these funds and not tokenized below 100 million reais with investment quotas for larger volumes.
When we use this technology, you reduce the speed. So here, the fund wins because it has different solutions, and the investors, both physical and juridic. It's a solution that we have, it's available in the market, and any manager could be using this technology already to benefit and reduce operational costs and offer more viable products to their customers. In this case, we had a partnership with Santander to solve a problem of a consortium market. It has a characteristic. We have 11 million Brazilian people, and over 40% of the consortium contracts are cancelled along their life. It's very high, this rate. And when this happens, the person has the money of what they already paid until the end of the group. Usually, it's because people are not able to pay the installments, and the quota is cancelled, the resource that they paid is retained. This is a problem for the person who hires this solution. There are solutions in the market. Each administrative agency tries or looks for a solution in this case in order for you to pay the person who would like to get part of this money back, because they will not be able to continue without the need to wait for the end of the contract. But this has important implications. When you don't have a market with available information, low cost, you end up creating a problem for the person who will rescue this quota, this money. And we want to solve this issue, because on the one hand, there is an opportunity in the market for investment funds for these types of assets. The funds can buy this quota and wait until the end to receive this amount. What is the issue here? The funds don't want to negotiate quota by quota. They want to buy a pool of quota, and they pay the physical persons that canceled their contract. This is a blockchain problem where we can connect the funds with the juridic persons, and the company cancels the quotas, send it to auction, and thus you end up being able to pay the contracts with both the legal entities and the physical persons. What is the advantage? That you really are able to reduce operational costs, you have traceability, the transaction is immutable. We launched the solution with the Santander Bank, who developed this blockchain solution, and it's open to any type of company who wants to plug in our platform. We have over 100 funds who are interested to use the platform to buy quota that go to auction. We have 6 funds entering this process with this for this operation of buying the quota for the secondary administrative market. This will be great because you solve a problem, you make the market grow. One of the barriers is this worry that if people are not able to pay the installments, then they basically lose their money. And when you are able to solve that at fair price and you have an auction with a lower operational cost, the expectation is that you have a very low cost, and this generates a lot of benefits. So this is just as a new solution which was just launched, and basically it makes everything very viable. There's a third case that we are doing is that using tokens. Today the market, card markets as a whole operates based on a technology, and a traditional technology, interchange of files. This is also expensive. Some operations are not done because of the registration costs of these operations. When you use this operation, the cost reduction is great, significant. We are authorized to register the operation, be it for traditional operations or tokens. And we are going to launch this solution in the third quarter. We are building it with a few companies to launch it as soon as possible, and it will be available to any company that might want to use the solution, and it will open up the possibility of creating a secondary market. Session is already since the tokens create a trail of the operation, we are also creating a secondary market for the anticipation of these payments, which will be great for the investment funds that have to abide by rules of receivables. Sometimes you have to change the position, and you need to change the position. You have the secondary market solution, and that's very important. It also tends on giving more access to investors to operations with the receivable trail tied to credit cards at a very low cost. Many companies have been working in that model to use this solution based on CVM 88, which has been a great laboratory for these companies to use these technologies, since it really lowers the costs. These operations of up until 15 million, this is a small ticket. You end up by allowing or fostering these types of solutions. These values are about to rise, and this might happen in the next year, the next 12 months, and our expectations is that this will make these solutions grow even more. And finally, just to conclude my presentation, we have an important case here of tokenization. We invested on B4, which is a company that operates in the negotiation market, stock market, of companies of up to 13 million reais a month. This is the first company. This is a company. We use a CVM regulatory box to be able to use this technology. We do it through blockchain, and we're now up to debenture and actions that or stocks that are already set up for IPOs and primary emissions. This will also be used as a trail of and a strategy and other opportunities for the sector. So the final idea to conclude my presentation, my 20 minutes are almost up, is that what we used to see 3 years ago that was not viable, be them for regulatory or operational cost limitations or even understanding of the technology, this is no longer a reality. Many things that we denied to do in the past, we are looking into it under the light of new technologies, and then they are now viable. I brought you 4 examples. Imagine how much innovation will not be brought to the market as a whole. We have studied many other cases. We have looked into the real estate tokenization market, automobile market, all of these assets which involve guarantees of credit operations, they tend on being very benefited by a treatment with solutions such as blockchain, where you can control the whole network of operations with very low cost and control and traceability that we didn't have before. So the transformation is coming, and if you will have interest in knowing more about these 4 topics or other ideas that you understand to be viable, we are open. We want to talk to the market to tokenize all types of assets. This is the Nuclear LinkedIn. We have a stand here if you want to dive into any of these topics, and I will give you, besides LinkedIn, there's my personal contact on LinkedIn if anybody wants to contact me about these innovations that are happening in the token markets using blockchain. I'm at your disposal to talk. Thank you for your time and for your attention.